My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Season 1, Episode 6.
You hear?
More
They're
drinking.
asking for a list of our members. Taking our names down in a registry like some
Are these
kind of
Yakuza?
thugs.
That would be interesting in a show called Vigilantes.
They call us villains. And why should we argue?
This is very, your boos mean nothing because I see what you people cheer for type energy. What do your values mean? What do your projections of goodness mean? If you're so basic you think that the law is good, or that what you've been told to do is good. There's no spirit there, there's no code there, you're just following.
The way a man lives. It doesn't change with the law or the spirit of the times. A man walks the path.
No! Drunk
even
driving.
If All Might himself is standing in his way.
Damn, you gotta give it to him. It's kind of badass. He may be a little bit drunk, though. I may be a little bit intoxicated. If I was sober and I saw All Might, I might be thinking differently. It's weird. In a subtle way, I feel like Vigilantes is kind of taking dunks on All Might. You know, the chip brand, you two can be a hero, that was just bad. And then the cheesy don't drink and drive signs. I mean, like, yeah, you know. I mean, I guess if it's All Might, it might make a difference. But in general, I wonder, are these signs effective? Is it not largely just a pat on the back for people who already think that way? And for people who don't think that way, it just makes them, like, more antagonistic? Okay, so these are clearly bad dudes, right? But either I'm crazy, which is possible, or there's something just naturally compelling about what he's saying. And I think that probably stems from the fact that his code may be terrible, and, you know, he probably does not have the best values, and he and his cohort are probably a net negative on society. But at least the man has a code. It's one of those things where it's kind of a low bar, but, like, at least there's a bar. It may turn out that a startling number of people just have no bar, or they have a bar that they're just very weakly connected to, and it sort of is there when it's most convenient. And so, practically speaking, in effect, there's no bar. I mean, the reality of this is that, like, even people with a code, it's very selectively chosen and applied. It's, like, written to form around what the impulses already were. But just taking his words at face value of, like, we have a code and we stick to the code, no matter what comes our way, I mean, that itself, isolated for that thing, is a respectable trait. And then, like, the next step is trying to anchor it to the best possible thing. You are completely devoted to your code, and that is a really great code.
Yeah, Rogia, you said it.
You said it,
Another round.
Rogio.
Keep drinking.
This voice acting, though.
As nasty as they are, it's not their abilities that makes these men dangerous.
Oh, hello. Everything changed when potentially Stain's earlier form attacked. Is this one of those things where, like, we're being introduced to characters that are not going to be around for long?
And yet,
Why do they call him Manhole? That's an unfortunate villain name.
somehow a force they can't explain freezes them in their tracks. And in that instant,
They're gone.
cut down.
Well, that was a short arc. Oh, does he literally attack with a manhole? That is a huge relief. That guy looks like Bucky. Speaking of, like, IDing. Well, I think their Yakuza days have come to an unsightly end. It's too bad because there's a lot of cool things you could do with Yakuza in this arc. And, like, I played Yakuza 0. I don't think they deserved that. They were probably just busy running hostess clubs and making the girls drink up all the wines, getting dressed all up for you, racing toy cars. Yeah, you know, there's an occasional fight with thugs in the street, but they attack first. Always helping random people in the street no matter how small the issue. That's the Yakuza life I know.
Hey, sup, Mr. Judgment?
You are in way over your head. This is too much for a part-time job.
Stendal is something more than a mere human.
Okay.
Without the mask, I'm simply an ordinary man serving the heroic ideal. Don't call me by his name.
Cool.
Okay, you have a whole thing going there. Yeah, very particular.
Those Yakuza guys. They got a lot of use out of their medical benefits, but it ended up costing them big time.
Maybe she's exactly where she belongs.
Someday Stendal will judge you too.
Yes.
Until that day, he loses nothing by leaving the stronger vermin to prey on the weaker.
Sure, right. Fight fire with fire, fight vermin with vermin. I get it.
Yeah. I don't fully get it. I've never really been fully able to understand Stain. I mean, I vary between, like, real strong but terrible honor code and also just insanity. But at least he has a code. At least there's a bar somewhere. I should probably go back and watch those Stain episodes from the original show. But even without a fully articulated grasp on his overall philosophy, it's not hard to imagine people rallying behind him one way or the other just because of all the pent-up emotion and anger and frustration that could, like, easily be justified under the banner of some sort of reason. As I've said before, I think a lot of times the rationale is presented as leading, and in many cases often feels even to the individual as a thing leading, without realizing that actually the rationalization and the reasons kind of formed around some other impulse as a justification or excuse, I guess, for what people already wanted to do anyway. So it wouldn't even really need to be airtight or, you know, super logically compelling. It could be all over the place. It could be super vague and use broad, sweeping, undefined terms.
Here in Naruhata, we've got some big rats, and they've got serious appetites.
What is she studying? I think she too could quit school. From a professional perspective, I mean, I think she's found a niche. She's found something for herself. She's making it work. Episode 6, Crossing Lines. Cool title.
So that's my get well present?
Still better than nothing, wouldn't you say?
When I first saw these guys, I wasn't expecting, like a friendship arc and development.
Be grateful for that quirk. And probably that drug, too, now that I think about it.
Oh, the trigger.
The way he said that. Oh, I guess it's just his
Yeah,
voice.
from dying instantly. But it's the reason I almost died in the first
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have been there.
Still,
How'd it
I
feel,
gotta
though?
admit the
How'd it
good
feel?
fight was pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous, dude. All I got was bigger flames, and honestly, what does that even do for me, right?
You're not thinking big enough.
Say, Rapt, if you could, do you think you would want to try out flying again? Huh? Nah, I'll pass.
I don't know how this works exactly, but you figure if the drug unleashes something in you, then that exists as potential for your ability? No? It's sort of like a synthetic accelerant.
A bunch of the nurses in this place are smoking hot.
Go get you some broken bones.
These kids are alright. They're focused on the important things.
Some lunatic went medieval on a whole Yakuza gang, and now he's gonna come after you and all your friends. You gotta join forces and fight back.
This is a setup.
Enough.
Wow, this all happened really quickly.
This game is growing old. I'm ready to slay him and move on.
Ugh, dark. For me, it was a Tuesday. He just wants to get to the killing as fast as possible. Not that this is necessarily the case for Stain, though it certainly could be. That same thing applies. I won't say a lot, but sometimes at least, the impulse to correct people's behavior, come down on people. It's not actually about the inherent issues or the goodness of the thing, but more like, just a mask for the person's feelings of discontent, jealousy, anger. In fact, actually, I think this often is masked under the banner of justice.
So here's the deal. Either
We
you
need him
beat
to do the
now,
drugs
or
first.
He kills Rapt and Moyuru later.
He's worthless to us without the drugs. Oh? No
Whatever you're
drugs.
trying to do here, it's not gonna go how you want.
Oh,
Come at me, you
interesting.
masked freak.
I mean, interesting.
These claws are all I need.
I respect the heart.
Man, that sucks. You're no fun.
Do I still get paid?
But I can save this party.
Oh, I could
with a
just-
little
yeah, I could just
help from
inject
my
you.
friends.
Against your will. You're gonna take the drugs and you're gonna like it.
Well, you two play nice, okay?
She is not a very good person. Something gives me the feeling.
Minoru with his freaking claws!
Every time.
This is kind of wild because, I grew up in a generation where everybody wanted to be Wolverine. Life just isn't fair, man. He was just born in a different world at a different time.
My mommy says I'm not allowed to play with you.
Some of these subline readings are so good. My mommy said not allowed to play with you. Mommy says to shut up.
Don't judge me by my appearance. Every time they look down on me,
Yeah, he's sort of lashing out.
making me act.
Maybe he's actually a threat now.
Making me into a monster.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it can be sympathetic and also wrong at the same time. It's a hard position to be in. There's a certain point as an adult where you just have to take responsibility for your own life and actions. You don't get to play the pain game forever. It hurts. Sorry that it hurts. And it's so tricky because, no one is immune from a causal link of environment to what you become. I mean, there's clearly a nurture thing happening for everyone, but that runway is only so long and you sort of have to, take off before it ends. And then it just becomes you're just a monster. No one made you a monster. No one is forcing you to continue being a monster. I mean, in this situation, he's clearly in the right. He was walking away. The real villain of the show is that guy's mommy. Though I guess if there is any time for this kind of anger-fueled outburst, it's now against Stendal. There's such a vicious cycle to these things too. There are the things that happen to you that are young, that are formative, and so that creates your worldview, which includes your expectations of the world and other people. And so if you think that people are cruel and naturally hate you, you're reflexively bracing for that to come at any moment. And so that shapes the way you're behaving. And so when you come across people who actually aren't judging you and have, no prejudgments about your character and maybe totally fine with you and would like you and you could even be friends with, they're thrown off by that projection. And then because they're put off, they have a negative reaction, which then deepens the cycle of expectation. I've seen this happen very directly. For example, if there's someone who has become distrustful of others or has learned to expect a negative reaction from people, they're on high alert. And then the most benign comment that the other person is not doing maliciously or maybe isn't really thinking much about at all registers as an attack or a precursor to an attack. It gets interpreted in completely the wrong way. And then that person gets defensive and some negative emotion leaks through, to which the person who up to that point had no negative feelings is why is this dude being negative? And then in ReZero Wrath style, there's an amplifying echo effect that happens emotionally. And then the other person comes away with the thought, I really don't want to be around that person very much. So then they're wow, people really do react negatively to me. To sympathize, that's a really hard problem to break because the pattern goes really deep.
Stop right there! I'm the guy who can't stay away when there's a cry of grief.
Where's Knuckle?
I'm the crawler!
Knuckle is here, right?
Whoa, what? Mr.
Yeah, we're a little bit. Oh yeah, we like Stendal. We idolize Stendal.
Step back, crawler. I will slay the...
Oh, we got a Stendal shoulder pat, and it feels so conflicting.
I mean, this guy is dangerous.
Yeah, but
transformed, he is like a proper villain.
do you realize this means
Surely we
murder?
can defuse this if we know
You
what
do
to
not realize
say.
this means murder. There is no talking on the agenda. It's not fun in games anymore.
This is real.
Yes.
He's actually gonna kill him.
Yes.
I won't let you.
Wow. Big of him. To attack Stendal. Crazy. 5 seconds ago, he was a hero. Oh, yeah.
Don't stand in
That
my
hurts.
way, crawler.
On many levels.
I'm not here to talk right and wrong. Only run!
I respect that about Koichi. It's funny, that came up in the episode preview. He kind of presents himself as somewhat of a subjectivist, but I actually don't think that's the case. I think he has a very good instinct for more objective forms of good and bad. And he's actually good at resisting subjectivity where it's most damaging. So like, because I've deemed this person bad, anything I do is okay. Values and any sort of moral code go out the window as soon as I've determined the judgment on someone's character, me, myself. What I like about Koichi's outlook so far is, given that he has a really good instinct for what are the most important things, he follows what I think is the best idea that came out of that Yakuza scene in the beginning of like, the values are not subject to the whim of the moment or the individual. There's nothing really courageous about just being perfectly mapped with whatever is the consensus opinion at the time and then just shifting in whatever direction the consensus tells you to shift. You can extend this framework to other things of like, I don't know much about politics, but like, I'm going to do my best to be a good person. The being a good person trumping the affiliation aspect of it. Yeah, I don't know like exactly what the technical definitions of hero or villain are. Maybe I'm not too familiar with the law, but like, I'm going to save this guy's life because I think his life is important. He presents himself as this wishy-washy, kind of hapless, I got to know my place type person, but his emergent beliefs are actually, he's very convicted. And also in a really cool way where he's sort of not distracted by the frills, the various ways people try to dress up good and bad. He's slowly getting away.
Trying to get you away from that guy.
Why would you save me when I'm so worthless and hated? Everyone hates me. That's what gives me strength.
His actions are clearly born of good intentions. But when you protect those who side with evil, you've made your choice.
You're either on the good side or the bad side. There is no gray. Oh, he has the freezing thing.
No one will notice your departure, for no one is here to see.
This is not true. Thank God.
You're wrong.
Oh, he missed. Well, you got
Because
your
I am here.
challenge. Oh, I'm a little bit worried for Knuckle. I mean, all right, Knuckle, we trust. Don't let him drink your blood.
All right, you punk.
Imagine calling Stendal a punk.
The Naruhata Vigilante Knuckle Duster.
Oh, so you're a fan.
I have no qualms with you.
Interesting.
We are the few who walk the righteous path.
Yeah, that's a load of crap. I'm a hero of justice round these parts.
Two heroes of
You,
justice.
You're just some crazy slasher.
I mean, yes.
Isn't the real shame that you missed your best shot to hit me with a surprise attack? You've clearly been sizing me up under that mask this entire time.
Knuckle could have let this go, but he didn't. It's interesting because on some levels they would appear similar, right? It just so often comes down to the specifics. And like, what exactly are we talking about? I think there's a push in the opposite direction. You know, it's like there'll be an umbrella term for something, and the umbrella term will attempt to capture so many different, sometimes conflicting elements and frame that as good. And then it sort of becomes a game of not really addressing the specific situation, the details of the situation, the goal at hand, the best methods of attaining the goal. And instead will be a framing game of like, well, if you don't agree with me, you are against this umbrella term. And we've established the umbrella term is good, so that makes you bad. These are things like freedom, which is such a complicated topic, justice, fairness. I'm actually thinking about this right now because I was having a discussion in DMs about tolerance. They are qualitatively not the same, but they're both vigilantes.
But you can't stay too far, or else I'll just dodge and take the opening. Of course, if you're too close, you're in punching range. It's a tough spot for you.
Knuckle just itching for this to happen.
Just try taking a step over that line. Because the moment you do, you're getting a taste of these.
Get a taste of these knuckles.
I've entered your reach. There's no questioning it. You're an iron wall.
I wonder if this isn't a red herring.
I will press on! My speed far exceeds what he could intuit by looking at me. There's no way he could time this properly without having seen it.
There's also the wire.
Common sense means nothing, not to him. A hero steps over the line.
Yeah, red herring. He stepped over the line. It's symbolic. He one-shotted him.
Didn't you just tell him he wasn't allowed to step over that line?
Yeah, but doesn't mean I can't step over
I
it.
lied. Yeah, too. We didn't really establish all the rules. Stain just assumed.
As soon as the disguise goes on, they're convinced they become this entirely different person.
Oh no, Gucci feeling attacked.
They're the first to throw away social mores, and any sense of self-preservation is out the window. Of course, if you break the mask, the person crumbles.
Very astute.
Gotta remind them they're nothing but a bag of flesh and blood.
And it's just perfectly on brand, on theme with the whole image thing. I mean, in a very zoomed out way, it's the broader problem of the original show as it plays out in society. Society's kind of wearing a mask. That's what makes it so easy for the villains. You just shake the confidence a little bit, it's all gone. Because it wasn't really built that organically or robustly. It was kind of predicated on this illusion of like All Might always saving everyone. Also topically, it could apply to this sort of like internet vigilantism where people are anonymously attacking people and trying to bring people down, where they have no real risk or real skin in the game, but they're able to do damage. Maybe there's not as much conviction there as it seems. I mean, in the attempt at imposing what is stated to be some great moral concern, it's actually just masking some darker, more Machiavellian traits, playing a sort of stature game of like, if I can affect you, my ranking has increased, false outrage and panic over big nothings, with zero involvement in the issue, using victims as a stepping stone or emotional weapon, without any regard for the victim's actual desires or lives or actual goodness. Because if they actually cared about goodness, they would practice goodness.
Anyone who's forgotten that much needs to get back to basics. Without that,
Oof.
there's no resolve.
Go back to school, Stendal.
I get it.
Maybe
Now,
you really
I understand.
did learn, yeah. I can't wear a mask anymore. I gotta go all in. Knuckle accidentally created something much worse. He just got your blood though, didn't he?
I have been so lost in the dark, yet now I am enlightened.
Thank you,
for showing me the path of the
Knuckle.
just.
Yay! And everyone lived happily ever after. Whoops. When you accidentally make your enemies stronger and more convicted. To Stendal's credit, I mean, he is a thinking person. He is listening. He's open. He is adaptive and growing. These terrible people in this episode are showing some really admirable qualities. Koichi has no idea what a pivotal moment this was in this world's history.
He's worse off.
Who is?
Oh no, don't make that face at him. That's the face he expects.
I feel like you could spare a couple words. Didn't I save his life?
Why are you asking me?
Even Koichi's a little bit begrudging.
That kid right in the head. I nearly got him ran through, and now he's all smiles. Is he crazy?
He is a good kid. He's a little bit naive.
Crazy's not the word I'd use.
Right.
He's just dumb.
Is that better? I don't know. Thank you, Knuckle. Thank you. Oh, it hurts so good.
What I lack above all
Conviction.
is resolve.
I don't think that was the issue.
Though this rambling about resolve might be the funniest thing I've heard in a while.
Silence!
Did he just stab her in the eye? Mirror. Yeah, okay. I think this pretty much confirms it. Oh.
Yes. This
Is
will do.
this resolve?
Mask is the face itself.
If you can't remove your nose with a knife, can you even call yourself resolved? Good God. Stain running through these hallways with his nose falling off. Noses are irrelevant in the pursuit of justice. I must remove everything superfluous to my pursuit of heroism.
I discard my false face and behold the reality of this world anew.
Okay,
The eyes
yeah,
of
insanity.
day.
It's insanity. I think we've solved that dilemma.
No lines left to cross.
No lines.
There he goes again, talking like he thinks he's some cryptic genius. Freaking narcissist. Well,
I mean, she's sort of calling it.
not like I should be complaining. I'm still having fun.
And getting paid. Don't forget the money.
The blood I shed. Let its essence paint the way for others to follow. With each step I take, a path is drawn.
It's a
The
great
stains
rebirth
of my blood shall guide
into
the world forward.
darkness. Stain origins. And I can understand why that would be so compelling. Given, but I mean, not even necessary, this primordial soup of pre-existing resentment and dissatisfaction with society and anger and frustration about what is probably perceived as a lack of prospects or an impossibility of a satisfying potential future. A narrative like we saw with Wolverine Kid about how the world made me this way and the world's at fault, and maybe by extension for some people the world is just evil, you know, it's dirty, it's corrupt. adopt, this is the totality of what people are and what life is. Given that as the base, to somebody to come along and have like a very confident, clear message about how to get out of that, how to reach for something better and higher that does give you a chance, combined with what are actually very admirable traits, looking at them in isolation, like real dedication, literally cutting off your nose, discipline, extreme unwavering confidence in these ideas, something like philosophical elegance or like just articulation of things that people can easily attach their emotions to. Yeah, that would be very inciting. It would create a model. I mean, I think this is actually a very real strategy. It's like there is the given environment, and like any given environment is going to have a massive amount of flaws, and it's going to fail people. And especially if there's an overfixation on the sum of my life is just the extent to which the external is working out for me, or the circumstances or the situation, or on the other side, the extent to which I don't really have agency, I don't really have any autonomy, there's no way actually I can improve my life through my own choices and actions and outlook, but rather it's all just kind of like random chance, and so therefore it's unfair and I was given the bad hand, is the extent to which anybody who comes along and offers like an opposite or contrarian position on the established framework, using the failings as their beacon of why it's important, is almost immediately a ray of sunshine just by being in opposition to the thing. And then, you know, you can like Trojan horse in all manner of things that are unspeakably horrible, but like we're already sort of revved up, we're taking down this evil system or this evil person or, you know, whatever. And I think that's at least partly the weakness of Hero Society going into sort of the main show, where it's like everything is great, there's nothing bad here, you don't need to really like think or process or have agency or develop any real internal strength, just like, you know, leave it all to the heroes. All Might's here. Look at how white his teeth are. This is the paradigm of perfect, beautiful comic book paradise where nothing ever goes wrong. And then the people for whom things are really going horribly wrong, they're like, no, this is all a lie. Society is a scam. People are evil and willingly embracing this lie. It all just has to be burned to the ground. Maybe that's the importance of somebody like Koichi or Deku, where like the naivety is maybe not ideal, right? The bright-eyed optimism is not the final product, but they're beyond those considerations and that sort of dialectical back and forth of societal swings. They have a more universal higher North Star that'll allow them to navigate one moment at a time and do what is the best thing, regardless of the sentiment and regardless of the, you know, the cultural movements and countercultural backlash. They're not subject to the wild emotional whims of the herd. They just want to do what's right, and they're going to do what's right, and they'll do what's right when they're popular, and they'll do what's right when they're unpopular. They'll do what's right when they're happy, and they'll do what's right when they're angry. They'll hold to their values when they're with their friends, and they'll hold to their values when they're with their enemies, because that's what having a code means. It means you do it even when it's difficult, even when it's not obvious or doesn't come naturally. And if that code is strong enough, there's a sort of freedom where you're no longer beholden to whichever direction it's coming from, any manner of emotional targeting of those trying to sweep you up to do their bidding.